Hey, hi, everybody. Dan John here from danjohnuniversity.com. Welcome back and hello. Hey, I want to talk about something that happened yesterday. Yesterday, I recommended a book, and I got to remind myself sometimes that in this, I guess in this millennium, we're not supposed to talk about books anymore. But I picked up Tony Robbins' new book called Life Force, and I mentioned a few things about the book that I liked. And then I got some very well, not inappropriate, but very like, you're a leader in the industry. How can you recommend Tony Robbins? And I'm like, I've been recommending him since I first read him, and I mean, I've been recommending Earl Nightingale since he changed my life with his series Lead the Field. Yeah, this book is about how new breakthroughs in precision medicine can transform the quality of your life and those you love. Well, one of the things they talk about in this book also too is a drug called metformin, and which has become a very popular, people with pre-diabetes and diabetes type 2, I think, take it. And we'll talk more about that. But what I want you to know is that I read a lot of books. Sometimes I listen to them on tape, and while I listen to them on tape, I do jigsaw puzzles, which is something I enjoy a lot. But what's interesting about the book Life Force is so much of the book is taken very much so from this book by David Sinclair called Lifespan, which is another book I liked a lot. The thing I like best about the book is at the end he recommends this. So it says, what I do. Now, on the next page after that, I'm on page, I guess I'm on page, wow, this is a big book. I guess I'm on page 303. On page 304, he does have some of the stuff he takes, which is what he does, so it's okay. But tell you what he actually says on the page before he shares the supplements. Ready? He says, eat fewer calories, don't sweat the small stuff, and exercise. Eat fewer calories, don't worry about little things, and exercise. Well, you know what? I think that's pretty good advice, and I hope you all agree with me. And I just summed the entire book for you. But what's interesting is that there's another book that just came out not long ago that I'm a big fan of called Just Eat. And what he does in this book, and the author's name is Barry Estabrook. And I've mentioned this before, I know, on my podcast. One Porter's Quest for a Weight Loss Regimen That Works. And in the end of the book, he says this. He says, do this. And it's called Joy Over Comfort. Eat more beans, eat more vegetables, get your fat from olive oil, smaller amounts of high quality ingredients, less meat, and cycle or walk 1 hour per day. Basically, you're probably hearing the same thing that Sinclair said in his book too. Now, he also goes on in this book to say, don't do this. Cut out sugar as best you can, cut out booze as best you can. No snacking, which was an interesting one. And the one that really got me interested, no sandwiches. Now, at first I thought, well, what's wrong with sandwiches? I mean, I grew up with sandwiches. So I go upstairs and I buy bread from an expensive place here local. It's not expensive. It's a very good bakery. And on the bread, they have an interesting thing, and it says the number of calories per slice. 140 calories per slice. And I said, wow, that's interesting, because the big can of vegetable soup that I eat is 120 calories. A piece of bread is this big, can of soup is this big, and the soup has less calories, obviously. So I guess the issue with sandwiches and some other foods is that they're too concentrated with calories. One of the books I've gotten a lot out of in the last few years, as long as we're talking about vegetables, is this book by Will Bushwevich. This is called Fiber Fueled, and this is the book that explained to me why eating things like kimchi and I make my own sauerkraut and eat my own sauerkraut. In fact, after I do this, I'm going to run. I'm going to have a whole, that's going to be my afternoon. Well, I guess I shouldn't. I was about to say my afternoon snack. I love this book. I think it's great. There's another book I think you look into. In this book, it's called The Body by Bill Bryson. Now, I love the work of Bill Bryson, as many of you know. But this book is like anatomy for people like me, anatomy for people who were missing the point on a lot of things. Maybe physiology would be a better term. And I like this. It's called A Guide for Occupants. And embarrassing as this may sound, I had to get the large print edition because that's where my eyes are today when I travel. Of course, the book I like the best for longevity is this book by Bill, I think it's Gifford, and it's called Spring Chicken. And of course, at the end of the book, he talks about things like what Tony recommends and Sinclair, like using things like metformin. And I found that interesting. I also found it interesting that in this book, he talks about Resterival and some of these other things, but most of the time he talks about simple stuff like, again, exercising. I see this coming up over and over and over again, is that what you're going to probably hear from me today is that the same basic things keep bouncing in as we go through all of this. So really, folks, I don't want, if you're not exercising, let's not talk about longevity. If you're not eating mostly plants, let's not talk about, or lowering your calories somehow, if you're not drinking water. The knock on some of these books is that they emphasize supplements a little bit. So I want to be completely candid and honest. I brought out my supplements for you. I get this on a specialty store called Amazon. It's turmeric curcumin. And I was told by my good friend Rusty Moore that this is actually something I should try. I've gone through a whole bottle of it, almost, and I really like it. This is just an experiment. It's short term. I might go another round or two. I don't know if I'm going to keep or drop it. But let me give you the ones I've been using a long time. Next to it is this one here. This is called Hibernate. It's a sleep formula. I get online. It's got magnesium. It's got the stuff like that. It's got just a hint of melatonin, very, very little. But I'm a big believer in sleep supplements. And when you read all the books I just threw on the floor here, one of the things that keeps coming up is magnesium, 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 magnesium. And I find magnesium helps me sleep. And it also seems to help me long term with some of the issues I have as a strength athlete, like those weird night cramps you get in those weird places if you've actually ever lifted a lot of weights. You know what I'm talking about. The next supplement I take is I'm back on taking daily vitamin D3. Now, for a long time, I was taking a mega dose every Monday, but now I'm just back to this. And there's a good reason. This is a lot less expensive. And every time I read about vitamin D3, and this goes back to the German textbooks of the 40s and 50s, I'm more and more convinced that maybe there's something, I hate to say, I mean, magical or helpful. And yeah, I know I can get it in the sun all I want, and I do. But it certainly seems to help me a lot. The final supplement I'm going to share with you before I talk about the magic foods is, ever since I came back from the Middle East, I picked up a parasite in the Middle East. And it's funny, not long ago, somebody said to me like, oh, so just one parasite? Yeah, because, that's okay. Multiple parasites would be bad. And it did a lot of damage to me. For those who've ever heard me speak or who've ever spent time with me, know that I always have to urinate. I constantly feel the need, and that's part of the problem. But the other sad thing is that the damage that happened to me made me kind of pre-diabetic. So my doctor, in all of his wisdom, put me on metformin. Now, the reason I'm not telling you to take it, that's the thing that kind of bothered me on this. One of the people who commented, and I should have kept the post up, but I deleted it, said, I was giving medical advice. I'm not giving medical advice. So when I get a 3-month supply of this, I think it costs me $6 or $8 for a 3-month supply. And what's nice, and I can show you the blood test, is that I was on the verge of diabetes for a long time, diabetes, whatever it's called. And then I started on this, and of course I did some other things. I exercised, ate more plants, ate more fermented, the drill. And my blood glucose numbers went down to really excellent. So my thought is, this cost me a few cents a day. And for me, if I want to live long enough to see my grandson Leo, play sports in high school and college if he feels it, or professional if he's good enough. I want to go to Josephine's high school performances. I want to see Danny, excel as a student and do great things, I got to take care of my longevity. So, and now I'm going to circle back on something, okay? I keep, as some of you know, have read my work, I like to summarize things pretty well. So in my book Attempts, I have this interesting thing. I kept finding superfood lists, and I kept trying to put them together. And there's 4 that seem to, these foods showed up in every single place. Coffee, water, salmon, and the olive family. So especially olives and olive oil. It was interesting to see those 4 things show up over and over and over. So at a basic level, what I try to do every day, I start my day with coffee, and then I drink water the rest of the day. When appropriate, I eat salmon when I can. I'm not necessarily a pescatarian, but I certainly strive to eat more fish. And of course, olive oil is what that's what I cook with and put on my foods. And I do my best to always toss in some olives. Olives, as I've noted before, have 4 or 5 calories each. So you can eat 20 to 25 calories and get, well, heck, I guess not even a piece of bread's worth of calories. And you'll probably look better and feel better. Before I finish, not long ago, a friend of mine sent me a little list, and this person had kind of studied all the stuff I'm talking about for longevity, health, and things like that. And the person emailed me this list of 5 things. Coffee as a miracle food. Vitamin D and how helpful that can be. Walk more. Walk more is number 3. More nuts and seeds. And since I read that, I added this superfood stuff that I got over here at the store. That's flaxseed, chia seed, and hemp seed. And I put that into all my oatmeals now. And the last one is meditate. And of course, I've been meditating seriously. I use Brain FM. And I meditate every day for at least 15 minutes. But it was just interesting to look at that list of coffee, vitamin D, walk more, nuts and seeds, meditate, and how when you start to put all this longevity stuff together, I'm not trying to push any supplements on you. I'm not trying to push any vitamins on you. I'm just basically saying that, when you're thirsty, drink water, go for a walk, eat less calories, go have some fun. Well, folks, I got to get back to what's important to me, and of course, that's my jigsaw puzzles. So, folks, peace out. Peace in. Thank you so much. I'm Dan John from danjohnuniversity.com, and I'm here to help. Thank you.